Hello students, today we will discuss about Francis Bacon, the father of English essays, and his famous essay of studies. It is prescribed in the syllabus of MA previous English students. So we will start to discuss about him and his essay. At first we should thank to Bacon, the father of English essays, that English prose reached its perfection at the very outset. In fact, he borrowed the conception from a French writer named Maté, whose essays appeared in 1580, means 17 years before the publication of the first edition of Bacon's essays, which were prescribed in which appeared in 1598. So he modified the concept of essay so as to make it suit his own particular genius. He used it as repository of dispersed meditation. You know it, this term, dispersed meditation, impersonal, practical and worldly. No one has ever produced a greater number of closely packed and striking formulas loaded with practical wisdom as Bacon has done. His essays seem to constitute, you can say, a handbook of wisdom, and closing in their shortest maxims an astonishing treasure of insight. So, if we start to read this essay of studies, we can find here that whatever the essential merit of Bacon's essays, just as density of the thought and expression and the frequent brilliancy of the poetic images, all these qualities combined together you will find in this essay of studies in more pronounced form. Being the first of Bacon's essays of studies has a historic value in itself. So it was the essay which roused his muse to guide his way to the sanctuary of immortality. He became famous and he started his journey with this essay onwards. So as its title shows, it deals with the several aspects of studies. We can arrange them in the following order. You can find in this screen. The first part we can categorize the use of studies, and then the disadvantages of studies, and then he elaborates it as the attitude of various kinds of men towards studies, and then you will find that he has discussed about the rules for the study of books. Then you will find various modes of the studies, and then the value of different species of the studies, and at last he has given the curative use of the studies. So start to have the text of this chapter. In the very beginning of this essay, he write down the line: studies serve for delight, for ornament and for ability. Here he refers to the triple function or purposes of the studies. At first, studies are the potential source of entertainment, particularly in privacy. Then it enhances our personality like ornament. The language of a well-read man has a learned flavor in the comparison of an illiterate person. Now ability, the third quality, the third purpose. It provides ability to what? You can understand it. The ability to judge what is right and what is wrong. And it helps us to take the decisions of the life, different phases of the life. So it teaches us what is right and what is wrong so that we can plan and execute different matters of life successfully. Thus, in short, the studies make for private pleasure, social charm and worldly success. Is it clear to you? Then next paragraph you will find the second category, the disadvantages of studies. So to spend too much time in studies is sloth. And further you can find here the line, as we know that excess of everything is bad. So the above said purposes are used in excess. They will leave their negative effect, definitely. Like depending too much upon the studies, it will be a sheer pedantry. Similarly, to decide every matter according to the bookish knowledge, it will be very ridiculous and will leave a very humorous effect. So, for example, we can remind here of the famous chapter I have read in Sanskrit, Shastrani Dhityapi Bhavanti Murkha, where four scholars take the help of books even in the trivial issues of life and show their whims. So Bacon means to say that here studies and practical experience should go hand in hand. This is what he wants to convey the message. Now here you will find the attitude of various kinds of man towards studies. He discusses the difference in attitude of various people towards studies, just as cunning men think that their cunningness is superior to bookish learning, so they condemn books. Common men just express their wonder at them, and the best use is done by the wise man. Wise men put studies to the best use. They learn from books and assimilate that knowledge with practical affairs of life. So, in the next paragraph, you will find the rules for study of books. Bacon knows well the universal fact about the taste of a man in the matter of books. So he refers to the idea that books are like the food of man's brain. Some books which are to be tasted are meant for, you can say, the reading with curiosity. The books which are to be swallowed are to be read completely, but not with much attention or the labor. But some selected books are there to be read thoroughly and with perfect attention. So summaries of the books are tasteless like distilled water according to Bacon. Now in this paragraph you will find that various modes of studies are there. As a man of practical wisdom, Bacon asserts the utility and proper procedure of studies. To him, reading, talking and writing. Reading, talking and writing. Each of them play an essential part in the formation of the individuality, the personality. Reading matures a man's understanding. Conversation and discussion sharpen a man's wit. And the habit of writing makes a man precise about even minor details. Is it clear to you? Now, we will go ahead. Here you will find the value of different species of studies. So, as it is written here, histories make man wise. Bacon points out the utility and method of studies and enumerates the particular benefits to be derived from the study of different subjects. He thinks that whatever we read comes into our character, just as men grow wise by the study of history. And the chief function of poetry is to develop the man's imagination and ingeniousness. Moral philosophy makes a man grave and sincere, while rhetoric makes us able to debate or argue well. So in the last of the essay, you will find the therapeutic use of studies, which Bacon has indicated here. Here he says that the curative value of studies is very essential for us, and we have to understand that studies are to the mind what exercises are to body. For example, mathematics is beneficial for a man whose mind is always wandering and lacks concentration. So, for a man who fails to notice subtle distinctions, the study of scholastic philosophy is recommended. The study of legal cases is useful for that man who lacks the ability of going logically from point to point. So in short, all defects of mind are curable with the help of specific studies for specific cases. Now you see that dominant feature or spirit of the essay is didacticism. This is, you will find. We feel that when you read this essay, you will feel that as if a teacher is standing in the classroom and he is giving the lessons to his students. His systematic way of presentation reveals the fact that he has gems of thoughts. He has gems of thoughts and language as well, but he does not scatter them with the uncalculating profusion like Shakespeare, but rather like those who are husbanding their store with care. So that was all for today. Hope you will relish and comprehend it well. See you in the next lecture.